All right, to continue on, we're going to add more geometry in and around the head so that we can basically bridge across and create new geometry because we have existing geometry. So we add a couple segments in there and we'll end up with some pretty good surfaces. So we'll okay that, and then we're going to go back to our vertex and we're going to grab some of those new vertices we just made and start bringing them out to the surface of the head. All right, so by doing that, we end up with a 5-sided poly here. Now, it's not the end of the world, but we're going to start by just capping it and then looking at the best way to fix it. So from here, we're going to look around at this and see that there's a couple ways we could go. We could either change the flow and just come across here, or we could come from the flow here and then down across the top of the eye. Either way really is going to work. And I don't think at this point one way is really significantly better than the other. So we're just going to cut. We want to go from this one. By going down there, I now have 2 quads that way. Come down through. All right, again, anytime I add geometry though, I want to go back in and smooth things out. So either I get out of the sub-object, go down to relax, and let's make our brush a bit smaller. Then we can brush around there and let that tool smooth things out for us. All right, that's going to work pretty well. We'll go back to vertex, look around, make any adjustments that we want to make to it. Maybe we want to bring that back. Open vertex down here, so we'll target weld that over. All right, so the mask of the face is pretty well done. Now, we need to continue adding on from there. So we're going to go to our edge, and we're going to grab those to continue over the back of the head. So as I shift drag, I want to rotate and move So from here, we'll build all the way back down into the neck. Now, as I think about this here, this vertex at the edge here, that's that one right there. We're starting to get a little wide, right? Because the neck comes back down here and is actually back behind the ear. So at this side of the head here, we're getting a bit wide. So we're going to grab those two. We're going to turn on soft selection. Up our soft selection a bit. Turn on edge distance so we can't grab any part of the cheek. And then we're going to move that back a little bit on the side. All right, by doing that, we start pulling everything back in toward the neck. And giving ourselves the kind of curvature that we really do want. Bring that back a little bit. Decrease the fall off on our soft selection. All right, that way we get a pretty smooth transition. Without, again, worrying about trying to touch every vertex on the object. We really don't want to have to deal with that. All right, so now we go back to edge, turn our soft selection off, and we'll keep going. All right, so bring that down a little bit farther. And one more time. Then back to vertex with soft selection, so we can move that in. All right, so we're at the full profile of the neck. We're right about the side of the neck, so that should be a good spot. All right, and then just like we did with the front of the face, we're going to start looking for spots that we can bridge. So we go back to edge, now soft selection so we can see a little bit better. And if we're bridging forward to here, that'd work as long as I make sure I add a segment. But if we remove that one and go to this one, I can bridge straight across to there, and I'll end up with a four-sided polygon right there with a single segment. So let's just see that. We'll hit bridge, make sure I only have a single here, and then we'll OK it. So now as I look at this border, I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4-sided polygon. It also tells me I have 4 edges. So if I just cap that, I end up with a nice poly right there. So we go back, grab a couple of these, and we can bridge across. All right, I'm fine with having some big polygons right in through there because we're going to end up throwing them away and building the ear to re-bridge back onto the side of the head. So for now, that's going to work out pretty well. Down here, though, we've definitely got a difference in the amount of detail we have on the front part of the face and on the back part of the neck. So we can kind of easily account for that by grabbing through there, hitting connect, grabbing through there, hitting connect. And then we can go back, we'll grab there to there and there to there, and bridge those two. And I think we can bridge one more right there for now. I don't want to bridge too far because I need to end up being able to build that jawline. We're going to go back in here and we're going to start editing where these sit because I want to bring this back onto that jawline. And as we take a look around here, that seems like that's going to work out pretty well. All right, I'm going to get out of my sub object. I'm going to put the Turbo Smooth back on there and take a look at this one more time. We get a pretty nice, smooth volume to the skull. As well as some nice smooth surfaces on the face. All right, for now we can just leave the Turbo Smooth on there, and then we'll look at building the underside of the jaw down into the throat.